Alright, folks, and welcome back to the channel. We're here to discuss tomorrow's Scottish Cup semi final as Celtic face St Mirren at Hampden. I'm joined by Alistair. How you doing, Alistair?
Good, thanks. Good, thanks. And can I just say happy birthday to the host, by the way? I know
I
he's.
didn't want to mention it, but thanks very much.
You're looking a bit older, so.
Still not as old as you, but I need to be for the
Good
fucking
no
Stone Age to
will.
be as old
Right,
as you.
yeah, move on. So,
No,
if you see Josh at the Mona's game and you back up to him, please be delicate. It'll be a wee bit delicate tonight. He's gonna get pissed, folks. Oh, it's not. He'll be a wee bit delicate, so don't shout if you're sitting next to him.
aye. But no, the Moras game. I mean, it's kind of we're playing the same team we played last weekend. Let's, if you're being perfectly honest with yourself. But obviously this time in the cup with the chance to get to Scottish Cup final to either face Dunfermline or Falkirk. Alistair, I mean, there's always been this thing, especially over the last kind of few years, where Celtic go to Hampden and Celtic win at Hampden. That's not really been the case recently, in my opinion. If you look at the Scottish Cup final last year, I know we won the semi final in between, and then obviously we get beat af St Mirren in the League Cup final as well. So it's about time we start trying to get wins at Hampden, especially for my sake, because that
Yeah,
Scottish Cup
that
final last year
scared
was.
you. That scared you last
So,
year.
I'm just going to say I've managed to get a ticket for the game, and I don't use. So if we get beat, I'm no. You can kiss bye bye Hampden tickets because I generally that final last year scarred me, and I still can't really get in it. But my point is, we need to have get that confidence back again. That is, we if we go to
That's
Hampden,
swagger, mate. That's swagger's the
aye,
word I'm looking for.
swagger, aye, that's probably the best word. Because realistically, I would beat Rangers in the semi final of the cup, but they were down to 10 men for a lot of the game, and we still kind of struggled down the line, to be honest. Um, so we need to get that, a good performance and get into a final, and this time win the final as well.
And also, Josh, I would go. You know how I like my statistics. I was going to give you a good statistic. Apparently, over the last decade in cup football, we've scored 157 goals and won 13 out of 17 cup competitions. So our record's not that bad. It's just when you go, really.
Recent, it's been recent. I think like over this past year. As I said, the cup
That's
final.
get said against the whole club. I think, to be fair,
Uh,
that's not just been in cup competition. That's just
aye,
Celtic in general.
aye, because I do think that semi final at Hampden's kind of semi final. The final at Hampden last year was where I think people get their eyes open to where this squad needs serious work. And as we know, they didn't do the work that needed done. And that's kind of why we're in this kind of sort of position at the moment. Um, I look at I look at the. I was actually talking about stats there. Obviously going to individuals in a minute, but this time last week, last season, we had scored. I think Anthony Ralston had scored her 99th. It was a 20-minute Times podcast I was listening to, and they says that Anthony Ralston had scored Celtic's 99th goal against Kilmarnock last weekend.
Remember
This season, at this current point, we are 40 goals off that mark. 40. And by the way, we've played the exact same amount of games because we got to the League Cup final last year. We got to, obviously, this year wasn't the Champions League playoff. We got to the Europa League playoff, which is the equivalent of the same games. And we've obviously got to a Scottish Cup semi final. And we've obviously played the same amount of league games. For me, that tells you everything you need to know. 40 goals.
aye. But that's what happens, Josh, when you don't replace a forward line.
I mean, it's
Plain and
just
simple.
I actually had to like pause it and rewind it and to make sure that that's staggering. A genuinely 40 goals. We'll talk about 10, maybe 15 here. 40.
I will.
I mean,
Because
Christ, man.
let's be honest, we've no got a centre forward worthy of the name. And stats like that back it up. To be honest,
It's
I'm
insanity.
not
It's insanity, man.
I'm not a great I'm not a great believer in stats, but stats like that don't lie, to be honest.
No, no, definitely.
So,
But last weekend we seen some of that. Talking about lacking of last weekend's game against the same opposition. We won 1-0, but it should have been so much more comfortable.
I mean, I was going to say people when they talk about last week, Josh, I was kind of, I know the narrative was St. Mirren, we were I don't believe we were lucky. It was two bad teams. We managed to score early and hang on. But as I say, it's just this is what this squad is, mate. This is what I expect in this squad now because their confidence is shot and basically they look as if they're playing with the weight of the world on their shoulders. That's what it
Aye.
looks like.
And I would also say I don't think like in previous squads, we always applaud Celtic's mentality. You always applaud, how we are the ones we set the stand. This squad don't seem to have that mentality to deal with specific situations because the pressure's been on Celtic for years. The past decade, the pressure. Um, you know, I was
Well, let's
watching.
be honest, Josh. Uh, Ce- Celtic, Celtic always should set standards, and also we always live with pressure because let's be honest, Celtic are expected to win every game, however unrealistic that might be, especially year in, year out, and stuff like that. So we're expected to. I don't get this. The pressure gets to the players. No, you know when you sign up for me, you sign for the club. So I don't really buy that.
I know. Yeah, then as and I was actually I've been looking at kind of previous squads I know we've dealt with, and I'm not talking about previous squads the last few years because I've seen it, but I've been looking at ones that maybe I haven't seen. And I came across it was a video from another one from Paul, the kind of channel 67. I'd get to watch great content that he kind of brings out and
Yeah,
stuff.
he's good. That he's
Uh,
Paul.
um, and he done a video on I think it was in 2009, the season Rangers got to the UEFA Cup final, and we won the league. I think we won the league at
Aye,
Tannadice, and how we kind of managed
2008.
to,
Aye,
uh,
2008.
2008. We kind of get back into the title race with that. So I'm looking at that. The squad don't seem to have anything like that. This is no really. I feel I'm just slating this squad, because, but they haven't shown, But at the same time, they're getting results. I'm really in the middle with this squad. I'm stuck, to be honest, because I'm looking at stats saying 40 goals off a goal tally for last season,
And
playing the same
actually,
amount of games.
bizarrely, Josh, getting off on a tangent for a second, we've actually scored more league goals than Hearts, which I find really quite bizarre. But
And I just thought last week was an opportunity that any other Celtic team, decent Celtic team, St Mirren, I didn't think were great. I think they're trying to, fight for survival and whatever else. Then I thought they were set up, to frustrate Celtic. But I think any other team of the last few years would have put 3 or 4 past them. I think even last season's team, 3 or 4 past them, and I think you would have got the goal difference up. This team didn't do it because of the lack of firepower up front, and I think that's the sole reason. I think that is the sole reason. The Morris game, we're going 80 baht for it because it's a break for the league for St Mirren. There's no pressure on them. They don't need to get a result, and they've got a chance of a cup double.
I know, bizarrely.
Um,
I honestly think Josh, that if we can't win the morning, then I'll be honest. I know it's new in the league, but I think if we don't win the morning, the season's buggered. To be
I think
honest,
so. I'm going to be honest, and this might be very defeatist of me, right? I've been defeatist all season, so
uh,
to be perfectly honest with you, but I did say that, I want Martin O'Neill to win something this season. I think he deserves it after all the shite that he's had to put up with this board and, the players that he's been given, the tools he's been given. I think he deserves it. I think he deserves to win something and then ride off into the sunset and let Celtic, focus on the kind of
move
next
on.
next stage. Um, I don't think that'll come in the league. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope we do win maybe a league and a cup double. Happy days if I'm wrong, but I think the Scottish Cup he's got a real opportunity to do just that. He should have, in hindsight, led us out of the League Cup final.
Always
So
got to bring that up
I,
because
I
see, the bizarre thing is, Josh, I genuinely believe that, and this is where we bit of hindsight, to be fair, but I genuinely believe if we left it, we could genuinely be, be on for the most bizarre treble I've ever
uh,
in my life, seen in my life. And
I'd be a lot more confident, especially in the league, about getting us over the line. I think we would have won the League Cup final, or
I,
at least been more competitive. Because let's be honest, winning Boston's that day, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. And but I said I really do hope that, and that's what he should be saying to the players, not in a kind of selfish, egotistical way, but they should be going at right. This guy's come in and he's kind of got
twice,
us to the end of the season.
twice,
Twice. Let's give him the opportunity to lead us out in a Scottish Cup final. And I'm telling you, if they players let him down tomorrow, they should be fucking ashamed of themselves.
and I'm going to point out the obvious here. You do, you don't know, you don't. The players wouldn't want to leave Celtic
But nothing.
empty-handed because let's be honest, we all know a rebuild's coming. A blind man could see it, right? And we all know a rebuild's coming. So do you really want to be remembered if your dad's Maeda, Rio Hitati is he's been great players for us.
But
But
that
do you
last
really
season, he
want
won
to go
nothing.
out the door with leaving it with empty handed a barren season?
No, no, they won't.
That's a team talk.
And I think as well, it's I'm focusing on Martin O'Neill quite a lot because I've been critical of Martin O'Neill, and I stand by criticism. That I still think the Celtic manager is there to be criticised. I'm not saying any sort. He's the problem at the club because he's far from the issue here. I just think
It's
at
a
times,
symptom, no a
uh,
cause. I always
I,
say that.
I just think at the weekend again, I wasn't really sure what we were doing. To be honest, I thought St Mirren nearly passed us off the park at times, man, and that's
It
where
was,
Celtic are at the moment, unfortunately. But what I've always said with Martin O'Neill, I've always said that I think he deserves, something like a cup, Scottish Cup, league title. League title is the ideal one, obviously, but
aye,
maybe a Scottish Cup because he's had to put up with shite. He's been put in a position and I'm not trying to bring it back to the board again, but this board found it appropriate to not give
any money. No money.
not even money, just the right tools to set one of Celtic's most successful ever football managers.
Well, they've done it with everybody else, so why
Aye,
is it not
exactly.
with
They're, they're shameless. That's why they don't care. We don't care. But Martin O'Neill for me deserves something, and I really do hope he can at least get the Scottish Cup. As I said, hope for the league as well, but I've got my doubts about that, to be perfectly honest. But we'll see what happens. In terms of team selection, Alistair, I mean, Liam Scales is
Skills is
suspended.
suspended, so you'll be happy.
Um, I mean, I don't know who, but probably Arthur would come in then.
Yeah, I would probably go after.
Um, I'm mixed on half. For sometimes I think he looks good, other times I think he
Although
looks shaky,
he's
man.
he's he's probably better on the bowling scales, and
That's no
he's
difficult. Fuck.
I know I was waiting on that
That's
thing.
no difficult.
Um, no, but I probably think he, well, we all know what St Mirren got to do. They've got to play for set pieces.
Aye.
Although what I will say about Craig McLeish, he he does seem to have been playing a wee bit more on the
I
deck.
thought they played alright at Celtic. I think they actually played the ball across the ground quite a lot. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes we're
I
getting
quite
passed up.
liked that midfielder. I'm not talking for us, but that Devane, I think he's the one
Aye,
for
he was getting some plaudits after his performance last weekend, so seems to be doing alright. But in terms of other positions, I mean, I think the other centre half, Trusty, Sinisal, that's pretty much.
yeah. I think the back fours. I think we're going to have to put up with Tony
Do you think
Ralston.
Ralston will? I don't think Johnston. I'm and I'm not getting annoyed at Martinelli over this, but I wish he'd be a lot clearer on injury statuses, man. He's terrible for it.
I know, I
One
know.
minute Johnston's fit, then next minute, and I'm like, what? Just tell us, is he going to be back this season? I don't think. I think he's going to tell us at some point. Oh, yeah, but just tell us. I don't get it. It's just
I would,
it's confusing, man.
although I, I think Tony Ralston, famous last words, should be good enough to be able to play someone in a
I'm going to
semi-final.
be honest. I didn't think he was actually that bad last weekend. I think he was capable, but that was about it. He wasn't flashy or whatever. He wasn't terrible, but
But you're just waiting on
aye,
the
no, no.
terrible performance coming.
Aye, well,
I
hopefully,
believe
I
he's
guess,
going to the World Cup.
hopefully it isn't Sunday, but we'll see what happens. Tierney at left back, I'm assuming.
Aye, aye. Oh,
The midfield.
mm, I hope, I hope we bring Arnie. And here's here's my boom boom. I wouldn't play McGregor. I wouldn't.
But you wouldn't, right? But would you like Martin Hill do? Will do.
I think Martin O'Neill has, and everybody knows I love Martin O'Neill, but I think Martin O'Neill's got a plan in his head, and I just don't think him and McGregor can. Oxlade Chamberlain, Niguin, and Kalmar are a good combination because of lack of legs. And I think you agree with that, no matter if it was in
So,
them.
what would you think Martin Hill's midfield will be then?
I think he'll go Niguin, McGregor, and Oxlade Chamberlain because Martin O'Neill, if it's no vote, don't fix it.
I think
But,
I'll go Cal McGregor, Arne Engels, and Benjamin Negrin and play Negrin a bit higher.
well, I hope you're right, Josh, but I just think I I don't I you know me, I didn't like that combination. I don't think you do either.
I don't like any of the combinations we got.
Uh,
I'm honest
although I
opinion.
would spoiler alert, I would always play Hatati.
I just don't think we've got any good midfielders.
Uh,
If you want my perfectly honest opinion, we've got a midfielder that scores goals and does nothing else, which to anybody who doesn't watch Celtic will sound mental. But
uh,
that's the front line. There's another where we're spoilt with quality, not. We've got
well,
for me
yeah,
it's simple: Yang, Iniacho, and Maeda.
I think that's what he's going to go with because I don't know if you've noticed the last couple of weeks, Taneki's
That's a
disappeared.
weird one. That's a weird one.
He's like,
Um, but I think that'll be the three goes for it, to be honest. The quality of them is debatable, but
I
it's where
think
we are.
see see this particular point. There's no perfect 11, and this certainly isn't a perfect 11.
Uh,
All we can do, Josh, is hope some form breaks out, and please, Celtic, I beg of you, just a nice, comfortable day would be nice. Thanks very
The
much.
whole hope thing, that's been the story of the season. It's just hope we do something, hope we do this. And there's no conviction. It's just hope, hope, hope every 2 minutes. Um, but going to finish off, score predictions.
You can
I
go
was
first.
I may go first since 2-1.
Uh, I'm gonna go 3-1.
Uh, no, I think 2-1. I think St Mirren will score. I think
I think
we'll.
we'll get revenge for the League Cup final.
Oh no, we should be. There's no excuses if we don't. It's borderline
Oh,
embarrassing. It's
losing twice to St Mirren,
uh,
which I don't think will happen, but because if you want me to be honest, I think St Mirren are poor.
Aye, but I think every game we've been in with them this season, it's been tight. So I think it could be a kind of tight 2-1, maybe
Yeah,
a
well,
3-1. But
you need it for obvious reasons, but
aye, so don't ruin my birthday weekend, Celtic, please. Like,
I but
if you
no,
do,
I just can't. We should say as we're recording this, Dunfermline and Falklands just went into extra time, so we're
mm,
no closer to knowing.
aye,
I wish
but
we would go straight to penalties, but that's just another bugbear of mine.
we'll just need to see what we can do. Hope we get through before focusing on anybody else. But I'm going to wrap it up there for today's video. We'll be back at some point tomorrow after the game for post-match reaction. Hopefully, talking about a Celtic win. Celtic, please don't let me down. But until next time, we'll speak to you later. Inhale, hail.
Hail, hail.